Welcome to Upper Lafayette on the Move. I'm Jan Swift. Today's guest is Brenda Fulcard. Not only is she an Upper Lafayette board member, but she's serving as interim CEO of the Smile Agency. Brenda, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Jan.
Yeah, this is a pleasure. We were filming this in early September 2016, right after the big flood, and I thought it would be really helpful for the community to know more about what Smile does, not only when helping for disaster needs, but also day to day what's been going on for the past 40 or 50 years throughout not only Acadiana, but the nation. So Brenda, before we get into the agency and its mission, would you tell us about yourself, where you grew up, how you ended up here in Lafayette, and how you ended up at Smile?
Okay, Jan. Well, I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. My parents was very Southern. They actually came from Georgia and South Carolina. My father was military. I am the only girl out of two brothers. One of my baby brother is special. And we lived there until I was 16. And my dad decided to retire in Augusta, Georgia. So
Nice.
he packed us up. And we moved to Augusta, Georgia, of course, home of the Masters, 5 minutes away. And I attended Richmond Academy. It was an old military high school. It was called Academy of Richmond County.
That sounds very prestigious.
It was. It's actually the oldest high school, I believe, in the South.
Wow.
And can you believe I was in ROTC for the whole time? We even had a firing range on top of
That was cool, huh?
of our gym. And so it was a great school. It was a very loving environment. And after I stayed in Augusta, Georgia for 2 years. I came to Louisiana and went to Southern University. I also graduated from UL. And I met my husband at Southern, and he is from Louisiana. He's from Franklin, Louisiana, and we decided to make Lafayette our home.
So he'd be close to his family.
Yes, he comes from a large family, and they very family oriented. And I have thoroughly enjoyed being here in Lafayette and in Louisiana with the great food and great atmosphere. Oh yes,
so
it's been wonderful.
Yeah. So how did you end up at Smile?
Actually, when I was in Augusta, Georgia, I actually worked for, it was called Senior Citizen Council. It was a nonprofit organization that worked with elderly, and we had RSVP, Meals on Wheels, foster grandparent, we had the senior centers, and we also provide our own Meals on Wheels. So when we moved to Lafayette, I wanted to stay in
that field.
Yes, in social service. And a job, I saw it in the paper, and I answered the ad, and actually I've been with the agency for, in October, 20 years.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
So you had served as Chief Financial Officer before this point of being put in as interim CEO, is that right?
Yes, yes. As I stated, I've been with the agency for 20 years, and out of those 20 years, at least 18 will be served in the CFO role.
Yeah. So let's talk about the mission of Smile. It's such a large agency, and it actually stands, it's an acronym for St. Martin, Iberia, and Lafayette.
And E is silent. The E is silent. Well, Smile Community Action Agency is a social service organization which has been around for 42 years. Actually, it came underneath the act of the EOA Act of 1964.
Under President Johnson.
President Johnson. It was formerly known as Acadiana Enough. And Acadiana Enough actually faded away in, I believe, in 1967. And then Smile formulated in 1968.
Okay. All right.
And we currently serve 5 parishes, but most of our services in 3 parishes. It's in Iberia, Lafayette, and St. Martinville, and St. Martin Parish. And we minister about 15 to 20 programs. We are national. There's about over 1,000 community action agencies. And our mission is to empower our customers and also build healthy communities. And we do that through an array of services. We actually start from birth to all the way to the elderly. We have our major programs are Head Start, which we have 16 schools. And we also have RSVP, who service the elderly. And so between that, we have what we call social services, wraparound services, which places a family, make them whole. It's based on education, it's based on employment, it's based on making sure they have quality of life, for as housing, for as their health. We work with them, we do a lot of assessment, and we actually just work on them as they develop through their quality of life.
Let's maybe take some of the things you touched on and individually talk about what's available for people watching this that may not know exactly, whether or not they qualify and what exactly Smile offers. You said it starts at birth. What type of needs do you fill for the babies and their families? Who would come to you for help?
Okay, it's actually starts before birth.
Prenatal care?
Prenatal. We also
You offer medical services, or help pay for medical services?
When the parent become into Head Start, we offer health, dental, we offer mental health, we offer nutrition, we offer families to get, we pay for education, we pay for them to develop parenting skills, fatherhood involvement.
So for the babies, that's where people would come in and they can take classes and get assistance with
yes, we start working with the parent when they first, as in conception. We work with them, and we have the early Head Start program.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So the child is now 3 or so or 4, and they want to get a head start on school when they start kindergarten. And I know Head Start is just one of the most really, I think, impressive programs to let kids get that head start that they might need that they wouldn't be getting at home to start school prepared. Is that correct?
Yes, and one of the things I want to mention, we have early Head Start. We actually been having
Is that 3-year-olds?
Zero.
Little babies?
Little babies, 0 to 3. And we have had that program at least over maybe 14 years. And just to see those little babies, oh, they are so precious.
And little sponges.
Oh, yes, yes. So we actually began at the age of 0. And we work on social skills, motor skills, and academia skills once they get to that 3-year-old age. And so it's phenomenal to watch them grow.
Where are those locations? I saw on your website there was a location at Bertrand and then one on Louisiana Avenue. Is that that's not for the small children though, is it?
We do have an early Head Start on SLCC property.
Okay.
We partner with them. And also we have it on Louisiana Avenue. And then we have it in St. Martin Parish and Iberia Parish.
Okay. Yeah, and so then
For early Head Start.
For early Head Start. And so when they're 4, is that when they get into Head Start?
They move in, they transitional into Head Start. They even start sometime at 3. But yes, they started transitional into Head Start where they develop, moving them to do a transitional into kindergarten. And
It's
so
like a typical school day for pre-K?
Typical pre-K school day.
But that's for parents that can't necessarily afford to put their child in a pre-K program.
Well, interesting that you made that comment. We do take 10% above the poverty guideline. We take kids with disabilities also. We have a quota to meet for disability. And so
it's a diverse group of people.
It's very diverse, very diverse.
What are the qualifications for the 90% that, you know, that are at the poverty level? What are the guidelines for getting assistance with SMILE?
Okay, it's a national poverty guideline that is the same as the state and federal. It's the state and federal guidelines, and once you meet those guidelines, only thing you have to do is come in and apply. If we have the resources available, we try to assess first and do case management, and then we'll see. We like to meet the customers where they at and see where their needs.
You go to their home.
They come into our building, and also we go into the rural centers too, and we also have rural sites. Sometimes we go out and do outreach. And so therefore, we assess, and it depends on your needs. We find that some need high set, working on their GED. I call it GED. They tell me not to say that.
What is it now?
It's high set. So
it's a high school diploma.
Yes, and so it's a different type of program. They have a different.
It's not GED anymore?
No, GED is old, Jan. I'm sorry to tell you. I say GED sometime. We find that people need skills, building a resume or applying online.
I guess career changes with all the people out of work.
We also find that there's a case of homelessness out there too.
You've talked to me about that, right by your office at St. John.
Yes, we found that there is, it looks like the population is growing. And then we find that housing, low-income housing is
it's hard to get.
It's hard to get.
Yeah, there's
the
a
permanency
lack
of it and the lack of it. And so we work with the client trying to, first, if you're homeless, we'll try to address your immediate need. We'll get you, if you're sleeping in your car or you out on the street. Some of them are really sleeping on the street, and that really it's a passion for me. I wish I could get everyone off the street. It's very hard to drive up and see them laying on the ground, and that saddens me. But if we have more resources, we maybe one day, could buy this big apartment building, and
I've heard that,
and that's our future planning.
From the federal level, they don't want to give to communities unless the homeless are given places to live without strings attached or something. I've heard that it's a different focus now.
They are.
You don't have to say, if you're a homeless person or someone that needs help, that you'll give up everything. They're finding that it's better to help the person, right, to get them on their feet.
I think the new trend for HUD, I'm sorry, I got excited. The new thing for HUD is we had the theory of having homeless shelters. They are moving away from that.
Yeah.
SMILE itself has a transitional shelter that you can actually, I believe we might be the only one in this area has a family transitional shelter.
They can stay together.
Yes,
that's important.
And that was important to us. And they can stay up to 2 years in that family
Where
shelter.
Is that?
It's on St. John.
Right by your office?
Right by our office. And what they're trying to do is bring people to not temporary situation, but permanent situations. And so they are now focusing on innovative and creative ways to get them in some type of permanency.
And where they want to be rehabilitated to help themselves.
To help themselves. And that's what SMILE and other nonprofits are about, is people helping themselves.
Right.
And so we are a part of that mission. And
you've told me about other things too that y'all do to help people. I don't know if it's, let's say they're not in temporary housing, but they have a home, but they have trouble with transportation or getting to work or knowing how to interview or put their resume together. You really help people on that end also, is that right?
Yes, we help when funds are available. If people or our customers are losing their home, we have a housing program that is phenomenal. Our counselor, he does a great job in doing mitigating and trying to get them to maintain their own home, their household, that they will not lose their home. He also have home buyers classes and does counseling for as credit counseling and budgeting counseling and things in that nature. We also have what we call social service or wraparound services that helps with utilities and
Financial help?
financial help.
It's like a grant, or is it a loan?
It's actually it's a grant. It's a grant that we, as I say, assess the customer, and if we feel that they are losing their residency, that we will, if they bring to us a lease or eviction notice, both, and we will actually try to keep them in their home by either paying 1 month's rent. If they are homeless, we try to actually pay the deposit, the first month rent, turning on their lights, deposit for their lights, and 1 month of their bill to, and then we have the home energy program that it's 6 months, every 6 months, we help customers keep their lights on. And we also work with the gas company too. And we also have, in our education area, we have a program called STEM. And that's
STEM?
STEM.
STEM.
That's correct. We have an after-school program for kids. And we also have a summer enrichment program. And if you would have saw those kids, they are great. We have did in that particular program, we have did ACT preparations.
Oh, wow.
We have engaged them even playing golf.
So it's not just a focus on science, technology,
it's
engineering, and math.
No, it's a focus on everything.
Where was that held? Where was the
It
camp?
actually, we had partnerships, and I want to thank those partnerships. Jan, we cannot do this by ourselves.
No,
it takes
such a
the total
large-
community to participate. And actually, our partnership, we had it at Lafayette Middle.
Oh, that's a great school, too.
Great school. We had it at Lafayette Middle. We also had some events at Smile, and then we partner up with other vendors. Vendors in the past has been the banks. It has
Do
been,
they help underwrite some of the cost, or do they send over people to assist?
they let us use their, they partner up by letting us use their facility or doing a tour or just being there for us. And we actually received a grant from Lafayette Consolidated Grant, government. From Lafayette Consolidated Government.
That's great.
And they have been our partners for, in that particular project, I believe, for at least 3 years.
And that's such a wholesome activity for the kids.
Yes.
For spend their summer. Is it the whole summer, or just a camp for a week, or what
No,
is it?
it's a camp. We usually run between 3 to 4 weeks, and it all depends on how much funds we have available and how much how many activities that because we also do transportation. We provide transportation to the events, and also we do all the little projects. They have different projects, and it's just, and we have counselors there, and we have teachers, and it's just a great program.
That's cool. Let's talk about the elderly, because before our show ends, I want to get in the latest disaster relief y'all have been working on. But what type of programs do you do that assist the elderly? You'd mentioned Meals on Wheels. Are you still involved in that, or?
Well, we have volunteers. It's through our RSVP program, and our volunteers they volunteer everywhere. They volunteer in the schools. They volunteer at the hospitals. They volunteer pretty much. You will see a RSVP volunteer.
So they're a Smile volunteer.
They Smile volunteer, and you have to be 55 and older, and I believe 55.
So you do discriminate?
Oh, no, no. I say everyone come and volunteer. We also take non-55s.
I got you.
We all can volunteer.
The more the merrier.
More the merrier. We all can give and give back to our community.
You have a lot of volunteers, though, you're saying, huh?
Yes, we do. We have a lot of volunteers. We have volunteer with UL, with AmeriCorps. We have volunteers coming in every day. Just want to help and give back. And we appreciate everyone, the whole community. We love having volunteers. We have so many programs that we need volunteers for. And we appreciate all partners and all volunteers.
What are the AmeriCorps group? What is that? I don't know much about that.
It's actually, the AmeriCorps group is it's actually UL students.
UL students, but what do they do?
They're like a volunteer group also. They have came in to volunteer for our Head Start programs. They have done our after school programs. They have also took on projects that work with the shelter, painting the shelter and just beautifying the shelter. They have, they just a great organization to work with. Their minds is awesome and their willingness to help is just great.
Yeah, but that's a pleasure working
It is
with
a
them,
pleasure.
with students.
Oh, yes, yes. And just like I said, I appreciate all the volunteers.
Right. Let's talk about the latest flood and what y'all were doing. I know that Derby Heights is a subdivision that really has struggled in North Lafayette off of Carmel. And I understand that y'all went in there to help them get information because that's probably one of the worst hit subdivisions in the disaster. Yes,
Jan, our partners, and we, just like I said earlier, we have great partners. In Lafayette Parish, United Way of Acadiana was great. We partnered up with them, and we actually served, I believe, 85 families, and working through them in other partners like FEMA, American Red Cross. And then in St. Martinville, we partnered up with, we did 9,000 pounds of food and supplies to 172 flood victims in St. Martin through Harvest. The Second Harvest of Acadiana. And in New Iberia, we actually partner up providing transportation to flood victims. And so each parish got out there and partner up and worked with and gave as much as we could with our resources.
That's great.
To assist the flood victims.
And Smile got a grant also from United Way to directly help people get into temporary housing.
They did give us a grant, and the Hyman Center was a shelter, a temporary shelter. We assisted them in placing those displaced customers.
Right.
And it was very meaningful to us.
That's great.
And so through our partners and through the community, we have done great work over the years, and I appreciate that.
I'm really so glad that you were able to be a guest on today's show because, you know, I'd heard of Smile, but I'm assuming that, like me, many others don't know what you do. And if one person can be helped by watching this, I hope they'll contact you. What is the best way to contact Smile? What is your phone number?
It's 337-234-3272.
And your website?
It's smile@caa.org.
Right. There's just so many good things available, and I want to thank you, Brenda Fulcard, Interim CEO of Smile, for being on the show, and thank you again for your service on Upper Lafayette's board. We're honored to have you with us. You bring a great deal of experience and depth, and we're grateful for you.
Thank you, Jan. I appreciate you inviting me.
It's our pleasure. And I want to thank you also for watching today's episode of Upper Lafayette on the Move. This show airs on the second and fourth Thursday of each month on AOC 2 at 8:30. And you can also see it on our website at upperlafayette.com. I'm Jan Swift, and I'd like to thank you for joining us with another episode of Upper Lafayette on the Move.